Welcome back, friends. This is Steve with a Commodore 64 60 clone update. Last week you saw salvage, the massive salvage operation. This week we're going to go through and see what else we need and where to get them from and what that looks like in terms of cost. So stick around. By the way, I like big trees. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. It's free, and we'll see you after the break. For those of you that didn't stick around to the end of the video, you know who you are. Honestly, I don't know if I would have stuck around to the end of the video either. This is what was left. Alright, what am I keeping out of this stash? There's a bunch of chips here that I pulled out of sockets. They're probably okay. We'll keep those. Cartridge shield, we'll keep that. Cartridge port, we'll keep that. IEC connectors, we'll keep those. Joystick connectors, we'll keep those. Heatsink, we'll keep that. These tantalum capacitors, they started sweating when I was pulling them off. And in general, I had to use so much heat on that board. I don't even know what that thing is good for. We'll try and keep that. It might be hard to find. I had to use so much heat on that board that I'm just kind of weary about any of this stuff. Fuse holders, that'll be fine. Fuse, that'll be fine. Keyboard connector, that'll be fine. The screw for the voltage regulators, that'll be fine. This toroid, toroids are fun. Keep that. What else? The power LED header, we'll keep that. These last couple of chips that were directly soldered onto the board, they're probably burnt. I had to use so much heat to get them off. They're probably burnt. In general, that board had definitely had something wrong with it. That was one of the more difficult things I've had to work with in a long time. The resistors were hooked on the board, so it wound up being easier to cut off the one leg and desolder that, and then desolder the other side and get rid of it. These capacitors are probably beyond their sell-by date. They can go. Resistor networks, I already replaced all of those. Except for that one 10-pack, but I found another set of 10 packs I can use, so we're good there. Some of the sockets are single wipe sockets, they're all gone. Some of these dual wipe sockets, I don't know. I already have all the RAM sockets on, and at this point it's better just to not worry about these guys. These transistors probably definitely got overheated. It's probably just better to get rid of most of this stuff. I don't see anything in here that's worth keeping. Let's fill some sockets. Notch up, sockets up. 6510. What else do I have? ROM and ROM. 2364B. That's not the part numbers I have, so we'll have to keep digging. But it's one of these guys. One of these three. Alright, let's take a look at the diagram. Okay, RAM chips. I'm going to put the RAM chips back in here because the dead test cartridge will actually tell me which one of them is bad, and I tested all of these individually in another machine. And we'll try and run as many of them as we can. And I'll put these on the chip holder in the right order, and then I will forget that I did that later on when I get those sockets in. That one that I didn't put in doesn't look the same as the one that I already put in. They're both 257s. They're both made by Motorola. These two just happen to look more alike. Alright, let's see what else we got. Joystick connectors. We have 6-pin, 7-pin, 8-pin, cartridge connector, cartridge shield, heatsink, keyboard header, fuses, well, fuse holder, fuse, this guy here, power LED, and the missing resistor pack, the broken resistor pack. Okay, now we know what we need to order. Let's put together a shopping cart and see what that looks like. Okay, so remember that spreadsheet that I showed you in the previous video that had the bill of materials and links to Mouser and DigiKey? Well, this is it, only I copied it down locally into LibreOffice so I could make some edits and make some changes and take some notes. And what I did was I looked at the parts locator. If you remember the parts locator, it was this guy, and went through the bill of materials and found all the pieces that were not on my board that are in need of being acquired. So here we are trying to acquire them. So let's take a look at what I need. I need to get a couple of integrated circuits. I need a SID and a VIC-2. Those are going to be unobtainium, but we'll figure that out. I needed just a small handful of chips, the 556 timer, the LS74, 193, 629. This 404 was also going to be a little unobtainium, but we figured that out also. A couple of transistors, diodes, some more capacitors, voltage regulator. I need a crystal, but this is the listing for the PAL, so I had to figure out what the NTSC crystal was. A couple of inductors. Needed those two last sockets for the ROM chips. Couple of ferrite beads, and the RF modulator, because I want a new RF modulator, just because I want one. So let's take a look at what we found. And there's the parts locator. Everything I saw there had a Mouser parts list, but not a DigiKey part. So I just went ahead and got everything I could from Mouser. There was only one thing that was missing, and that was that square little modulator, but I've got the old one and we'll give it a shot. It looks like it's a pretty hefty part. Maybe it survived. These are all of the different parts that I was ordering, and the grand total when we get down to the bottom is $41.47 with $7.99 worth of shipping. And then I needed a couple of other things. So the next thing that I needed was a SID. I've tried the Swin SID. The Swin SID does not support the paddles. I don't have any paddles, but the Swin SID doesn't support them. So we will see if this one does. If I ever do get some paddles, I'll have the three. I've got a regular SID, I've got a Swin SID, and now I'm going to have the ARM SID. And the price isn't too bad, 27 euros. That's not too bad at all. So we'll get one of them ordered. And as usual, links will be down below, so don't feel like you have to write any of those things down. And then that RF modulator I was telling you about is the Shuriken RF modulator from CommodoreForever.net. And this thing just looks pretty cool. It looks like a little throwing star, hence the name Shuriken. And I wish he would have had a picture of the backside of it, but the entire RF modulator is all surface mount components on the backside. And then you just install some pin headers on your motherboard and put it in there. And he's got it in yellow and red and white, although that looks kind of yellow because of camera artifacts, and black. So I'm going to get it in red, and maybe it will just kind of disappear as you're looking over it, and you won't notice it at first, and then you'll see it again a little bit later. So those are all on order, and can't wait for him to get here, get this thing built. There's not much left to do on this thing, guys. Thanks for being awesome.